second. Okay, here we are again. It's I think week 10, am I right, of the Premier League campaign?
I think it could be week 11. I'm not sure.
Yes, they're coming so fast. I can't keep track of the numbers, but all very exciting. Yep. And we have an early kickoff game. Interesting one, Mike. Fulham at home to Man United. What's your take on that one? Can you take us away?
I mean, United are a gift that keep giving, to be fair. Apologies to our Man United supporters who are watching. But it's lurching from one false dawn to another, to a crisis, to another false dawn to a crisis. And the last few results have been terrible. Have put a lot of pressure now on their manager Van Gaal. They're going away to a Fulham team that I think they drew. They drew last weekend, 1-1.
That's right,
against
Brighton.
Brentford. Or Brighton even, yes, indeed. And a step in the right direction. And that's how bad morale must be after two very bad 3-0 defeats. I think we expected and we predicted a City comfortable victory last week. But to follow it up with that meek exit from the EFL Cup midweek has really it affects the players. I'm going for a 1-1 draw simply because if the players have any pride, any bit of interest in trying to play for their careers and show a bit of skill and a bit of nous, they should be good enough for Fulham. But I can't see him win. I can't see him win with the confidence or the lack of confidence they have. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I think things are very bad at Man United. I mean, but you look at the players they had on the pitch. You got Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire in central defence. You got McTominay. You've got Rashford. Okay, he did well last year. He hasn't performed this year. Then aging players like Eriksen and Casemiro, and you see that the players they have are just not good enough. And then you wonder, how can it be that after spending so much money, they don't have the right players? Now, you might say you have to blame a little bit to the manager as well, because he's brought lots of players from Ajax with him. And it's one thing being good in the Dutch division, or, okay, the keeper Onana was a Champions League final last time, but it hasn't worked out for them. So he's not completely blameless in this, even though I like him. No. I think so. There's faults everywhere there. Of course, the situation up in the boardroom level is completely destabilizing everything as well. So from top to bottom, United are in a terrible shape. I just think you say that, okay, the players have to come good. There's have to be something to beat Fulham, but I just don't see it at the moment. The only thing that maybe was in their favour is that Fulham, they have a high percentage of turnovers, while United have the high turnover rate in the attacking in the attacking side. So that might be their only hope, is to turn over the Fulham defence. But I'm going to go with McTominay, United's top scorer with 3 goals this season. I'm going to go for Fulham to continue to win this game 2-1.
Okay. Wow. Well, and can I ask you a question? There's one last thing on the United story. I saw recently a thing about that Zinedine Zidane has been touted as being the next Man United manager. And I have my opinion, which is that United should not go for a big name, but go for someone who has experience in managing in England.
Mm.
What's your thinking? They've gone for big names in other divisions, in other countries.
It's true. Like Zidane coming in, I think they need a very strong personality, someone who would be able to stand up to the board and not let him being bullied around. Because obviously there's different voices coming from different departments because it's so disorganized there. They need someone coming in and saying, listen, I'm doing it my way. I know the players I want. So Zidane coming in, I mean, I don't know. I don't rate him. I don't know. I mean, he had success at Madrid, obviously. But he just seems, I don't know, as a coach, you wonder how he had so much success at Madrid, you know?
Exactly.
So, like,
Exactly. Like has
he just seemed to stand
and he
there.
certainly, we can't say he knows the English game.
No, exactly. Yeah.
We can't go with the former Wolves manager Lopetegui or Lopetegui, because
Yeah.
at least he's got some pedigree and some history and some,
That's right.
and even Silva there, the Fulham manager has pedigree and experience.
Mhm.
You know, too much are jumping for these names in other countries, and too many of them have failed.
Exactly, because they'll just come in and say, I need 300 million to buy all these superstars. Well, maybe they need to kind of like to rethink, like Arsenal had to rebuild with youth, you know, through the Europa League when things were really bad. They spent the years like, you know, blooding all the young players, and take the time. Maybe they just need to admit, okay, listen, let's just take a step back now because things are really bad. So yeah, I think Zidane could be a huge risk. Yeah, I think anyone coming in now is going to be difficult until they sort out the management, the upper board thing, you know, because you need, like you've seen it with Arsenal, you've seen it with Liverpool, with Villa, all these teams. You need stability from the top down, you know. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, we're a prediction guy. We're a prediction forum. That's what our fans want. So let's go straight on to the next game. Brentford at home to West Ham. Is it Brentford West Ham?
Yes.
You go. You take it away first.
Okay. West Ham obviously had a great victory, or a good victory, against Arsenal in the League Cup. Arsenal had their second string team in, and fair play to West Ham. They made the most of the weak Arsenal team. West Ham has started with a strong team. So they probably, it's a quick turnaround for them again to play Brentford. Brentford had an impressive 2-0 victory against Chelsea. They had to defend well.
Yep.
And I must credit to Brentford's back three. You got Collins, Ayer, and Pinnock. They're very solid. You know, they've got a good, solid relationship there. And up front, Mbeumo is, you know, he's scored a few goals again. He's after a kind of a lull. So Brentford, I think, are finding it will have that team spirit. West Ham will grind it out. You know, they're tough to beat. They've only won one of their last 6 Premier League games, though, so they've kind of gone through a little bit of a. And also, West Ham are going to be without Paqueta and Alvarez in the midfield. That's going to be a huge loss to them. So Brentford, hard to beat at home. I'm going to go for a Brentford 1-0 win on this one.
I will not disagree with you. I actually have 1-0. Yes, West Ham had a great midweek victory, but as you say, they're on the back of, they lost to Everton last weekend. As you say, Brentford had a very good victory against Chelsea. We've been expecting Brentford to struggle, miss Tony's goals, but we talk about managers who have now put, you know, have some chips in Premier League. Has done a great job, and he's got a great team ethic built in Brentford. They work hard, they work for each other, and you mentioned their back three. Agree 100%. I'm going for 1-0 as well to Brentford in this one.
Good.
Moving on to Burnley at home to Crystal Palace. Now, anytime you see one of these new promoted teams, it's tempting to go, well, we'll go for a victory for the established team. Crystal Palace, as you know, are a team that are all often hot and cold. They've started the season quite well. They lost, I believe, last weekend. I didn't take down. I know
to Spurs. They lost 2-1 to Spurs.
And they lost to Spurs, but Spurs are on a high. Saying that, Burnley at home, I'm hoping will be the only chance promoted teams have is their home record, and Turf Moor can be a difficult spot. This is one Burnley need to win after losing to Bournemouth, who would have been other relegation candidates. they need a response. I won't say hope. I don't really have a dog in the football in this fight, but I still think that Palace, because they've started well, have kind of taken the foot off the pedal a little bit. And as a result, I'm going for a Burnley victory. 1-0. It won't be a great game.
Yeah, I think it'll be very tight. Yeah, no team. I think the Burnley losing to Bournemouth was shocking. You know, they've actually lost all 5 of their home Premier League games, and 6 would be actually a football league record. You know, that a team to lose all first 6 home games. So, and they just none of these teams can score goals. They've only scored both of these teams have only scored 8 goals apiece. So you might be, you know, looking at a 0-0 draw on this one. Also, Palace are still without Olise and Eze. Yeah. So and also Palace, they only converted 6% of their shots so far. So both teams really struggling to score. I could see this being a 0-0 game, but I'm just going to go. You mentioned the word experience. Palace have that at the moment, you know, the Premier League experience. They lost against Newcastle. They lost against Spurs. It's time for that Palace win again, you know, just to kind of keep them in mid-table. So I'm going to go for a Palace to kind of get maybe a 1-0 win on this one.
Okay, well done. Well, now this one I found very hard to call as well, but so I'll be interested to hear you. Everton at home, Brighton.
Yeah, it's true. Brighton, hot and cold. You know, they just seem to be kind of struggling to find a kind of a regular 11. And I can understand that because of their commitments, like in all different kind of competitions with Europe. A lot of young players have come in as well too, because they sold some players there. There's new players coming in, and they're promising, but they blow hot and cold. A statistic: both teams have scored in the last 14 Premier League games with Brighton. All right, so they usually score, but they concede as well too. Everton will be happy. I mean, they have what do they have? They've won 3 out of their last 5 Premier League games. I think it's built upon their back. Talk about defense, Tarkowski and the young Braithwaite. Braithwaite is really coming of age, and you've got like Onana in front of them there, and another Gueye. So they're kind of got a solid spine. And Calvert-Lewin has been fit for a while. He's scoring a few goals. So I could see Brighton having a lot of the ball on this one. Everton might be kind of sitting back a little bit and try to, you know, catch them on the break. So just because Brighton are not really firing all cylinders, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on this one.
No, that's a fair result. I've changed. I don't have that same score, but I agree with everything you've said there. Brighton started the season all guns blazing. I was like, oh, wow. I predicted them for a top 4, as much to shake things up. And they started, I was like, oh, I'm well in there for that. But they really, their defense has shown up to be very frail and very brittle.
Yeah, they only have
brittle defense.
They only have Lewis Dunk, really. The rest are kind of not up to par, I think.
Defensively, not. Going forward, they have their skills, but defensively, it's like having 3 Alexander Arnolds in the field with Dunk.
Yes,
it really looks bad.
Good comparison.
Seeing that Everton are not the flashiest finishers in the Premier League by any stretch. I'm going to go for a Brighton 2-1 victory because I think they're the better team. I think Everton at home will feel the pressure to go forward and attack a bit more, which will suit Brighton to catch them on the break and to create the opportunity. For Ferguson now, he's going to get an extended run with the injury to
Welbeck, is it?
The Welbeck.
Okay.
Welbeck's injured, so I think you'll see Ferguson a bit longer. The Fati has been impressive when he's come on, but he's still on the bench. Where he's starting most games. Yeah,
he scored a couple of goals recently, so if they can get him back to anyway form he had at Barcelona, they've got a really got a gem there. You know? But you mentioned about Ferguson. He's got 10 goals in this calendar year. And that's the best record since 2005 when a certain Wayne Rooney scored 11. So he's in good company there with the goals he scored this year. Promising player.
He's a very promising player, for sure. Okay, so we're moving on. We've got Sheffield United at home to Wolves. This is another, they're not easy games to call because, I mean, Sheffield United have been playing brilliantly. They had a very good draw against Newcastle. And we've seen
hold a second
Newcastle.
now. Wolves, oh, sorry, Wolves, you're right, Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves had a very good draw against Newcastle last week. You know, and they had the victory against Bournemouth the week before. So, like, Wolves are on a bit of a high at the moment because Newcastle are playing well. So stopping their gallop and getting a draw was a great result for Wolves. And you have Sheffield United, who took a hammering from Arsenal. Yet I suspect that this is a game where Wolves will be brought back to earth. This is going to be a rough grind of a game, which will suit the fighters that are in the Sheffield United team. And you've often pointed it out, they have some quality, decent players. I won't say quality, but they've hardworking, decent players. So I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw here for one of the promoted teams. Playing at home, this is a game that they need to get something. So I'm going for a score draw here, 1-1.
Okay. I agree. I think so I'm going with, I think you're right. I think Sheffield United have been pathetic, to put it bluntly, so far this season. I mean, they've 1 point from 10 games, conceded a record 29 goals, and they've only got 1 point from 10 games. So I think I can't see anything for Sheffield United this time. Against a Wolves team that I'm actually quietly impressed with. They'll be without Neto, of course, got a hamstring injury. That'll be a big loss to them. Conflicting reports. Neto set himself to be back in maybe a couple of weeks. Other reports say he'll be out till the end of the year. But even without him, I think with Cunha and with the Korean guy who's playing well, they've got a bit of dynamism about them. And they've got obviously more experience as well. They're more settled. So I think Sheffield United will make it tough for them. What's that, Mike? Momentum, yeah, exactly, as well. You know, so I'm going to go for Wolves to win 2-1.
Okay. Now, sticking with you, a huge match. You've got an informed team with a team that would be a bit disappointed with how they limped out of the EFL Cup. Not that it's an important cup, but it's the way they lost. We've got Newcastle at home to Arsenal. Huge match up at the top of the table. What's your reading for this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very tough for Arsenal. Obviously, very disappointed. Like they started, like they're kind of fringe players. You know, players out of form a little bit. Vieira, Havertz, there's a few others. Nketiah up front. There's a few others, and they just were pathetic. Really, you know, there was no one was willing to kind of grab the game and move forward. Everyone was looking at everybody else, sort of thing. So I think that's going to affect them going into this game as well, too, a little bit, even though, of course, the first team players will be back. Going to St. James Park. I think great credit to Eddie Howe, because I keep looking at Newcastle's team and the players they have, like you might have been on their team before the Saudi Arabian group came in. You know, that kind of player, you know, there's no superstars in that team, but they just all seem to have kind of found a certain level of playing together. You know, they're very hard to beat. They're scoring, like they're the joint highest scorers in the Premier League. And you put that with their great defense, they're a very, very good team. They seem to have a bit of inconsistency still, a little bit. Maybe that's because they don't have that certain level of players. But on their day, I think they're capable of beating anyone, you know, as we see beating Paris Saint-Germain. Even though with their injuries, I just feel momentum could be with Newcastle on this one. And it'll be a kind of a bit of a battle. And Arsenal, you know, of all the talk they have, I don't think they have that battle as much as Newcastle have. So I'm going to go for a Newcastle to give Arsenal their first defeat of the Premier League season. 2-1 to Newcastle. But
You heard it here first, guys.
Arsenal will still finish above them in the league.
This is the first time.
It's the first time I've ever given a result against Arsenal in the 2 years we're doing this.
I wouldn't say it's the first time ever,
Maybe
no,
not.
but
Maybe not.
I haven't heard it too many times. I haven't heard it recently.
Mm.
And I agree with a lot of your analysis. I think you're a little bit harsh in terms of the players that came in obviously didn't do well. You know, and they that's the thing with bringing in guys who haven't played week in, week out. They weren't up for the game the way West Ham were. They were looking at each other. You'll have the guys who are there, have put Arsenal in the position where they're in. I believe that the quality, when you look at Saka, when you look at Ostergaard, you look at Martinelli, you will cause Newcastle problems, a lot of problems. Liverpool found a way to win a game when down to 10 men. As you say, this Newcastle team are doing great. But it's not an outstanding team in terms of individuals. They can be got at. And certainly the Arsenal have the quality and in their forwards and their midfield to really test this Newcastle defence. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I could easily see it being an Arsenal victory, but I'm going for 1-1. I'm sitting on the fence on this one.
Okay, good. So, did we skip Man City? What about Man City? Man City.
Forest.
We skipped Man City.
Oh, we did. We skipped them. 5-0 Man City. 5-0 Man City against Bournemouth. That's my prediction.
I agree.
Look, it's Bournemouth. It's there we go. Look, it's Bournemouth. It's Man City at home. Without having to play an EFL, the players are, just that little bit more rested. The fact that they were already out of the EFL, it could easily be 7-0. But I went for 5-0. There we go.
I agree.
I don't think there's much to say. It's the nap.
Exactly. This whole game will be what City want, basically. One statistic: Haaland is has got 47 Premier League goals in 45 Premier League games, an amazing record. He's trying to be the fastest player to reach 50 goals, right? Cole, is it Andy Cole from Man United got 50 in 65 games.
Andy Cole.
Yeah, so he's going to get it well ahead. The question is, with 47 goals, will Haaland get the 50 in this game? It could very well happen.
I would not bet against it. That's you know what? Even just thinking about it right now, I play fantasy football. This is a good week to make him my triple captain.
Yes, there you go.
Where I triple the points.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. People hold on to that till later in the season, but then Pep will rotate and rest players. A game like this is ideal.
And I'm glad you said that, Mike, because if you make Haaland treble captain, we can be sure that he's not going to score at all and Bournemouth will win.
He won't score. Inter score an own goal, miss a penalty, and get sent off.
There you go. Okay, come on.
The whole trifecta now.
Forest at home to Villa.
So that's that game. We did that. Sorry. Nottingham Forest at home to Aston Villa is a harder one to call because Forest at home that's what saved them last season. They don't have their away form this season has been impressive, where their home form hasn't been as impressive. But Villa are on a high. Villa are probably the form team of this in the Premier League at the moment, and I see that continuing. So I'm going for a good game. This would be one of the this is one I want to tune in and watch because I think it'll be a high quality game in terms of atmosphere, effort, and a bit of quality, especially from Villa. I'm going for a 2-1 victory to Villa. Everybody loves when teams come at them. That's his bread and butter. And Forest will at home will be buyed on to push forward, creating opportunities for Villa. There's a few boys, Louise, McGinn, and Watkins, all on form. Their tails are up. I see them winning. 2-1 is what I'm going. I'm going for a close game. It could easily be 3-1, but there we go. I'm going 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing for Forest is that they're strikers, right? Against Liverpool, they missed. They didn't have Chris Wood as out injured. Owani only came on for 20 minutes. He's coming back from injury. Also, Origi's out. Hudson Odoi. So all their strikers. Woods will still be out. Owani might come back, but they might not rush him because he's just gotten back from injury. So I might see Forest actually sitting back on this one. Because they got the hiding from Liverpool the last game, so they might be more defensive on this one, taking into account their striker problems. Also, they've no win in 6. They've got drawn 4, lost 2, but it's their home form, right? They have only 2 losses in 19 home games, so they will make it difficult for Villa. But I just think that over the 90 minutes, Villa, the form that they're in, they're going to create chances. So I'm going to, like you, I'm going for Villa to win 2-1.
All right, hit it with me. Do you see Luton doing a shock here at home against Liverpool?
No, I don't.
Or do you see Liverpool continuing?
Yeah, I'm going for.
Give us the reasons why.
Luton have kind of managed to keep games, like they haven't been beaten, like very badly. 3-1 against Villa. Other times the games have been one goal here and there, but I think in this one against the best attacking force in the Premier League at the moment, I think Liverpool will just be too much for them. I'm going to go for maybe 4-0 on this one. 4-0. Liverpool are beautiful to watch going forward. Nunez is on form. The Hungarian guy, of course, is on form. And Nunez and Salah, of course, is back to where he's best.
And again, we talk about things that inspire players. They're fighting for Diaz, and that does give a bit of. It does give you that little extra factor.
Of course.
They're seeing what happened with Luis Diaz and his father in Colombia, and Jota had the short out commemorating his goal for him. Which is, it's terrible what's happened with the father, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
We're just predicting scores. It does inspire team to let's do it for him.
Of course. It takes the fear.
I Luton's quality is not there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it does. The Diaz. Yeah, keep going.
But no, I was just going to give a score of. Not quite as high as yours. I was going for Luton 1, Liverpool 3, because Liverpool's defence is still.
It is. Yeah, and that may be the reason why maybe won't win the Premier League because of the defence over the full season.
Yeah. Okay. Last game, the league leaders, team you don't like seeing on the top, but fair play. You got to give credit where credit is due. It didn't, they lose their captain, they lose their best striker for the Premier League era for sure, and they're top of the table. Spurs against Chelsea, the guys who spent all the money but can't make a team that played properly. How do you see this going?
You go first on this one.
You take it away.
You go first because I haven't got notes on this game.
Okay, wow. Well, I mean, my only notes there, we obviously seen Spurs. They seem to be just getting that, they're having that rubber look, and you say, well, when the look runs out, we'll see where the real level is. And it may well still be challenging for top 4. Maddison was a great signing for them and has proved to be a great signing already. Son is reborn, rejuvenated. He's the only player that would challenge Rodri for me as player of the season so far this season. This year, if it was given tomorrow, I'd say it's between Son and Rodri for player of the season. If it was given tomorrow, again, they're stuttering and spluttering. They looked like they were turning it, and then they lost badly to Brentford.
Yeah.
You know, had a lot of possession, still couldn't find the back of the net and lost 2-0. I'm going for a Spurs 2-1 victory here, just in case you run out of time. That's my prediction.
No, you're right.
Over to you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with a lot of everything you said there. I think the momentum is with Spurs against a Chelsea team that are kind of finding some roots, but like blowing hot and cold. Again, they don't have a kind of an out-and-out striker, really. You know, they've got their midfield is kind of getting stronger, as we spoke about last time. I just think that I agree with you. I think Spurs are going to hit a bad spell or have some setbacks sooner rather than later, but maybe not today. I just can't see Chelsea kind of maybe being able to stop their momentum at the moment. So I'm going to go for maybe as well a 2-1 win to Spurs. I agree with you.
Yeah. Yep, and there we go. Just so you know, I wasn't copying the other guy. They're all written down in my sealed envelope.
Exactly, yeah, very official.
So there we go, guys. That's our prediction for today.
Yes, enjoy the football and enjoy the football, and hopefully we'll see you all again next week. Until then, all the best.